And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back in episode 320. I rushed to turn off the theme, the iPad source sound, mostly because I forgot that I'm not playing it off of GarageBand, so it's not going to loop. The music might have been too loud, so I'm sorry. I also, my email for C Plus Comedy is open. I just got an email from Variety with a very spoilery headline of season 2 of Squid Game. A lot of stuff is going on right now. It's Christmas week. Merry Christmas. I hope you thought of me like I thought of you. Mostly, it's me going, I gotta do an episode. I'll fill you in on the details. It is 5:02 on Friday. Usually I record this during the day on Thursday. Oh my goodness. What's been going on? Well, we had a very Merry Christmas here at the White House. The house, the studio that C Plus Comedy built. So stupid. I am mad at Maverick right now. He and Nova, they both got so many toys for Christmas. The woman that found Maverick last year, we're still in contact because she's a family friend. And last year she gave them a lot of toys. This year she gave them a lot of toys. And I also purchased a lot of toys for the two kids. And they love them. I have a 3-minute video of them playing with the toys before Christmas. You know, people, they're with their families on Christmas, and everybody wakes up and they open presents and everybody's like happy together. I woke up after staying up late to watch Office Christmas Party and The Night Before. Oh, by the way, I'm still not done with my Christmas movie list. I meant to watch some today, but I took a nap because I was so tired from watching Christmas movies. But I woke up at not my usual time of 3:50, which is very true. I wake up at 3:50 in the morning. So I go work out at 4:15, so I can finish by 7:30. Most days. Other days I finish by 9:30. And you're asking, that's 5 hours of working out. What do you do? Well, the days that I finish by 9:30, I am warming up for 30 minutes or so. Sitting here. It's leg day. It's boxing day. Sitting here, using the gun, Theragun. The gun. I said the gun as if people know the things that I say around my house by myself. Using the Theragun, making sure the workout I planned makes sense, and then I go at 5. And then I do stuff for 2 hours, and then come back home and I cycle. On the do Peloton stuff. I've been adding rowing to the mix on top of, and in the cardio format on top of running and cycling. And since it's a full body thing, it's different. It's working the entire body as opposed to just the lower body. It's great. I do it for a cool down on some of my upper body days, not a lot of them. So yeah, I work out for a long time. I stretch and I do yoga and I do all this stuff. Trying to get top 1% on Strava, which I did, which is good. Anyway, so I'm mad at Maverick because there were among the toys that the nice lady gave. I got some good quality toys. I had ordered them from online storefront, big one named after a rainforest. I think like a bone, and Nova also had. When I adopted her, she had upper respiratory infection, and it reared its ugly head, and she's been sneezing. So I bought her some medicine for that. Had to put on mix it in with her food, which she does not like. So I have to mix it in with her. I have to give her half of some wet food along with the dry food. She loves the dry food more. She's lukewarm on wet food. Anyway. And then a giant hedgehog for Maverick that has a squeezy toy in it. What else? A bone and some other stuff. Oh, and some fishes for Nova and some mice for Nova, which I got from Target, actually. But among the toys that the family friend got for the both of them, she purchased a cardboard scratch. You've seen cardboard scratchers for cats. This one was shaped like a coliseum, more or less. Like it was a big bowl with legs that made it stand up, and it looked like a coliseum. It was just all cardboard, and it was about the size. Nova's like 11 pounds. It was about that size. She's been sleeping in it. She's been playing on it, and she's a cat. She gets tired of it quickly. I go to Trader Joe's this morning. Come back home. I'm gone for maybe 40 minutes or so. And Maverick has destroyed it. Not only that, which is fine enough. Usually if I leave him out, which I've been doing more often lately, is leaving him out outside the crate so I could go do things for a little bit and come back. But more often than not, if he destroys that, that's fine. For the first time ever, for the first time since maybe a year or so ago. Well, it was a year or so. A year when I had him. And the year I've had him. He walks over. Like the first week I had him, first 2 weeks I had him, he destroyed two yoga blocks. One yoga block. There's dents in the other one. This time he chose to get the roller that I use to recover my body. And I was very mad. And I still have not. I was so mad. I said, "Bad dog." And I put him in the crate, and I closed the bedroom door. I closed the crate, closed the bedroom door. I left him in there for an hour. Didn't pet him, didn't talk to him, didn't do anything. Then eventually I let him out, and still didn't talk to him, didn't pet him. "No, sir, lay down. Lay down. Hey, lay down." And it's been that. It's been that all day. I'm like, no. We're not friends right now, because those rollers are expensive. I got a nice trigger point one. So that's what we've been dealing with. Jesus. And then what else? Oh, and then also concerning Maverick. So we have I got this crate not when I adopted Maverick, maybe like a couple of weeks later. I was looking for a crate. And I found a nice crate on Facebook Marketplace. It is a really nice crate. It's made by Frontgate. And I'm sure they inflated this price. But the original price was $800, which is insane for a crate. And then at the time, last year, when it was still available to the public to sell, because I don't think you could buy it anymore. Because trust me, at the end of the story, I'm leading up to a point where I need this. And then when last year when I was looking at it, after checking it on Facebook Marketplace, it was on sale for $500 or $600, and they're like, it's a deep discount, last chance, blah blah blah. And then the couple wanted only $100, so it was so big it would not fit in my car. I'd use someone else's car. I'd use someone else's RAV4, and I've moved everything in my car. I've moved the treadmill, that bike. I've moved I have a big white CB2 console for the TV. I've moved that. I got a new bed frame. I moved that in the car. I mean, it is a bed frame where you take apart. It's a Thuma. I took it apart. But anyway, I could not move it in there. Anyway, guys, so I borrowed someone's car, and then anyway, over the past year, these plastic crate bottoms, no one tells you, they break. Especially if the dog runs around and gets the zoomies and jumps in the crate and slams their entire body in it. Unfortunately, again, since they don't make this crate anymore, I have had to search around for the exact same size crate bottom. Finally, after 7 months of searching, I found one at PetSmart. They don't have it in stock. Period. I was looking last week. The guy goes, "Hey, just go on PetSmart online," and then I looked. Yeah, it was like period. And also those break. I see the reviews on that. Those break. I ended up gluing his back together with Gorilla Glue and Gorilla Tape. So hope and this is even worse. So when I let him out of the crate earlier today after his punishment, he runs out and all I hear is, and I know like it broke in half in the middle and I knew it was broken in half. Also on this front gate crate on the bottom, there's no full bottom. It's just railings that are screwed into wood. You'd put too much weight on those railings by jumping in things. It's just gonna strip the wood and strip the screw, and now you just have a screw that could go into a hole. It's ridiculous. All right, let's get started. This comes from the New York Times. NPR and PBS stations brace for funding battle under Trump. We know that NPR and PBS were basically going to be defund the police, more like defund NPR and PBS. Oh, I found the title. Public media is, yes, it is something that the government pays for. We know that Sesame Street is a government funded thing, but PBS is a government funded thing. In fact, a couple of years ago, what was it 2016 or 2018? One of those years, Sesame Street moved over to HBO Max at that point, to HBO Max for funding, more or less, for partial funding for production and stuff like that. And I believe 26 episodes were made for that first season, and they were taken down to 30 minutes. They would first premiere on HBO Max for 6 months, and then they would be aired on PBS for the next 6 months. So there was like 6 months lead time. Trump never liked. He wanted to cut back on these public programs. Elon Musk is in the same boat. This comes from Benjamin Mullen and Kate Conger. In his new role, advising President-elect Donald Trump, Mr. Musk has floated sweeping cuts to the federal government, including the elimination of entire departments and the firing of agency leaders. One of the most concrete proposals on the list is eliminating hundreds of millions of dollars in annual funding that the government funnels to PBS and NPR stations, home to culture. This is not the first time it's happened. NPR and PBS have been under this type of scrutiny before. And it's not even scrutiny. It's just that dickheads don't want to fund this. These things have intensified thanks to the no-good nicks that are Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Internally, NPR is preparing for a variety of funding possibilities, including that government money will be clawed back immediately, according to two people briefed on the network's planning. More than 98% of the U.S. population lives within listening range of at least one of the more than 1,000 public radio stations that carries NPR programming, and many stations use government funding to buy shows and to pay for their newsrooms. If you're an avid reader of NPR, you know that they often have struggles paying people, and even paying people the amounts that they should be paid. That's why you have a lot of people like Lulu Garcia-Navarro and Audie Cornish. Yes, they had storied careers over at NPR, but when the opportunity comes for somebody like Lulu or Audie to go to CNN, they're going to take it. It's going to be a long road ahead for these things. And then PBS, what was it, quarterly? I think they, at the end, quarterly, period. They have fundraisers, which has been going on for decades. Is it quarterly? I feel like as a watcher of PBS NewsHour at 4 to 5 times a week. Can you imagine? It's Friday night, 6 p.m. I'm like, I gotta watch PBS NewsHour. See what Amna and Jeff are talking about. Meanwhile, the bars next to me are just like blasting music. Ooh, what's going on in Washington today? But as a viewer of that show, PBS NewsHour, I often see, it feels like monthly, they're talking about throwing it back to my public station, my Atlanta station, and then they do like a 5 minute reprise. Elon Musk even tweeted, "Legacy must die" when it comes to these programs. I mean, this is so stupid. We show and Sesame Street's already in trouble because HBO Warner ended this contract. To what end does it make? And now I'm talking to both David Zaslav at Warner Brothers and to Elon Musk. To what end is this affecting your life? Like, Elon could donate $200 million. He wouldn't miss it. He'd earn it back. He could donate that much money and keep this stuff alive. But instead, he chooses to treat people like this. For Zaslav, he just sold $30 million in stock. And yet, there are people, they're not hiring anybody. CNN's working on the same shoestring that NPR is working on. And it's a private company. Not privately traded, but it's a private company compared to NPR. It's a public company. You know what I'm saying. But if I think about this all the time, if I was somebody in that position making hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars, or billions of dollars, I would do the most for the greater good. Because if the goal is to have this legacy, if you want to be the premier automaker of the world, why go this villainous route? If you want to help Warner Brothers become the best rival for Disney, why go this route? Why not double down on the people, and history will remember you that way? And you could say, "Oh, the money would change you." The money wouldn't change me. You pay me $1 million right now? Oh my gosh. You kidding me? My mom got me, she came over for Thanksgiving. Her and my stepdad and a couple other people. And I guess she went into she used my bathroom once. But I guess she went to that bathroom and she saw he definitely needs a new bath mat, it wasn't old. This was probably like 6 months old or so. 8 months old. I think it was 8 months old. Bath mat, a new mat in front of the sink. And I definitely needed a new shower curtain. Whatever that is. The liner in the curtain. And on Christmas, she pulled me aside and said, let me show you your gift. And she showed me these brand new bath mats and the shower curtains. And I went, this is what I needed. And you know what? I walk in that bathroom. I go, this is a good bathroom. I also asked for a hand mixer, just a Braun hand mixer. That's all I wanted. She got me those two things, and that's all I wanted. What I'm saying is I'm not wanting for a lot. just give me enough to live. I'll run Warner Brothers better than anybody ever has, and I'll take all that money that we're saving on my salary, and I would just spread it out over the company, making people happy. All right, this next one comes from Alex Wepper, and speaking of Hollywood CEOs. Alex Wepper at The Hollywood Reporter. Hollywood CEOs show their cards on what they think is valuable and what isn't. Companies are beginning to pick winners and losers in their portfolios as they adapt to a rapidly changing business environment. Now, I thought this piece was interesting. I'll give the link to why I chose this. I believe Luke Boma over at Cord Cutters TV.com wrote a piece about why or that Paramount is giving up on, more or less is giving up on its cable platform channels, and he linked to this story, and that's the reason I chose it. But over in the grand scheme of things, Warner is basically taking HBO, which is probably one of the biggest names in television, and putting it on streaming and studios. In fact, when I was watching 8-Bit Christmas this year, for the first time I noticed, because that movie's been out for 3 years now, for the first time I noticed the production company is HBO Max Productions, and I went, whoa, that's crazy. They put HBO Max at they named it a production company? To WBD, HBO is a crown jewel, not an asset to be stashed with the rest of the declining cable networks. At Comcast, its cable split will see the company keep its TV and film studios as well as Peacock, while spinning off its linear channels, which includes MSNBC, E, USA, Golf Channel. NBC and Bravo will remain with Comcast, though. We'll talk about that when that happens, though. Maybe on news time. Maybe they'll be back. It's supposed to be back. I'm working on it, sort of. NBC is getting a big focus from Comcast. More importantly, as it starts doing more sports, including NBA and WNBA games. Bravo is super popular thanks to its Real Housewives and Below Decks franchises, which really helped Peacock. So that's the reason why it is considered a pillar right now for Comcast. Disney is struggling, and I'll get to this in the final segment of here called Most Watched Networks of 2024. But Disney is struggling in its own way. It's finding trouble with carriage deals with companies like Charter Communications, Spectrum, the country's largest pay TV provider. They eventually cut a deal, but a lot of the cable channels like Freeform, FXX, and Disney Junior did not make the cut to the packages, while ESPN, ABC, and Disney Channel did. FXX saw a decline in viewership. I'll tell you about percentages in a second. And at Paramount, Skydance is actively thinking about its plans for the company when it closes the deal next year. Eventually, Skydance will be the owner of Paramount, which is one of the most storied studios in the world. The studios themselves are safe. Oh, he wrote storied in here. Interesting. I thought it was storied by myself. You saw me look at the camera. If you're watching the video. TV is a lot more complicated. Jeff Shell, who is the incoming president, said that CBS is its own crown jewel asset. They're going to be much more aggressive with the cash flow. If you are a viewer of CBS like I am, I view a lot of things, but if you're a viewer of CBS like I am, you'll know that they were already aggressive. This is the last season of Bob Hart's Abishola, which is a fantastic show. If you have not seen it, I think you should check it out. The last season was his 5th season, which is nothing to shake your fist at. I know in America we want shows to last for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years, but 5 years is great, especially for a linear TV right now. That's awesome for cable, but it's great for linear TV right now. But it was a multicam sitcom about an African nurse who falls in love with this fat, white, middle American man who has a heart attack, and then he loses weight over the course of the show. Billy Gardell loses weight. It's crazy. He looks fantastic. And it's a wonderful show just about love and bringing together two different cultures, and it's funny. I really do think it's a very funny show, and I cannot believe it even existed on CBS. But in the last season of that show, if your name wasn't Bob or Abishola, you and if you, and you were a recurring character that appeared in every episode, you were only going to appear in half the season. So because they wanted to, CBS just pulled a lot of money from that show. It was unfortunate, and they had an option of continuing with only having like the main cast, which was a lot of people, the main cast be recurring and they wouldn't appear in every episode, or of just like ending the show. And they just ended the show. They ended the show by doing half a season like that. And they got to tell their story, and it was wonderful. It was great. It's a CBS show produced by Warner Brothers. There's a lot of that going around. Legacy Viacom cable channels like MTV, Comedy Central, Nickelodeon, and BET. I was about to say Bet. I was so close to saying Bet. And I was like, what's Bet? Are simply not as high a priority. The company is likely to consolidate its TV networks after the deal is complete and would consider spitting its cable channels off or selling them, with only CBS off the table completely. I would be interested when the deal goes through, because maybe there might be regulatory commissions and stuff like that, but who knows? Trump's going to be president. It will be interesting to see what networks are spun off, what networks are sold, and then what networks just cease to exist. I think there's like 3 MTV channels. I'm not entirely sure. MTV2, MTV Classic, and regular MTV. And then I think they have some music video channels, because I definitely see Rock Block on YouTube TV a lot. But I wouldn't be surprised if they just said if they made like the 4 or 5 MTV channels into one now. And then a lot of shows were just lost to history, like Rock Block, and old episodes of The Hills or whatever they air. We already know that Comedy Central basically is non-existent. I mean, with the exception of The Daily Show and like Digman, they also have the cable premiere episodes of the new episodes of Beavis and Butthead from Paramount Plus. But Comedy Central, a couple of years ago, Comedy Central, what they did was they made Comedy Central the animation only channel. And that was when South Park was still airing new episodes on Comedy Central, as opposed to this 1 or 2 episode specials on Paramount Plus. And that sucks. They canceled a bunch of their shows. Some of them moved over to Max. Aquafina is Nora from Queens aired like in the heart of the night at points. And I mean heart of the night in the middle of the year. Like it would air at like 10 p.m. on a Sunday in the summer. I think BET is going to be sold off to Tyler Perry or whomever can afford it. I don't know about Nickelodeon, man. SpongeBob is huge, so I assume they would spin that one off. I assume they would sell off BET, do God knows what with CMT. Paramount Network at least has Yellowstone. So I assume they would take Paramount Network, MTV, Comedy Central, and Nickelodeon, spin those off. VH1 would probably go wayward. I don't know. But speaking of Paramount, this does come from Cord Cutters News, written by Luke Bolma. Nickelodeon nostalgia vanishes from Paramount Plus as streaming surge continues. A couple of days ago, I was swiping through Netflix, seeing what has popped up. I think I was checking for the Nate Bargatze special. I don't watch a lot of stand-up comedy, but I wanted to see if that was uploaded. Also, I thought it was on Hulu because I think they also have one, or Prime, because they also have one, but I think it's the last one he did. Anyway, and then what's interesting? And then today I'm sitting here watching YouTube videos, and Team Coco uploaded a Nate Bargatze stand-up special, not special, excuse me, stand-up clip from his appearance, one of his appearances on Conan late night, or yeah, Conan. I have an issue with the Team Coco YouTube channel. I think that we'll get back to the story in a second. I think that Conan O'Brien has a YouTube channel. That is his name, Conan O'Brien. Just like David Letterman has Letterman. On Letterman, he's uploading, I think I've talked about this before. They're uploading clips from all of Letterman's shows. Not a lot of the morning show, when he hosted that morning show. That was more or less like the Letterman shows, but they're hosting a lot of his late night stuff on that YouTube channel, and new clips that he's introducing, and sitting there talking stuff about. On the Conan O'Brien YouTube channel, it's all of his stuff from late night. On Team Coco, prior to the podcasting surge that Team Coco does, it was all clips from Conan. I wish that Conan's team would move all of, because now that's just a video podcast subscription on YouTube. I wish they would move all of the Conan stuff, the Conan show, the late night stuff, all that over to Conan O'Brien somehow. I'm sure YouTube can do that in the back end. I'm sure it sucks, but I'm sure they can do it in the back end. And just upload all the late night and the Tonight Show and all that stuff on Conan O'Brien and leave Team Coco as a podcasting thing so I can unsubscribe, because I do not care about the podcast. Now, I was on Netflix and I was looking for that Nate Bargatze thing. Also, I was looking for The Prince of Egypt because I know it's going to leave Netflix December 31st and I have to find time to watch that. And I also have to watch Life, starring Bernie Mac and Eddie Murphy. This is what happens when you just let things sit. But I noticed that the new Fairly Odd Parents continuation series, Fairly Odder, I think that's what it's called. I don't know. Fairly Odd Parents, Fairly Odder. It's about a black girl named Hazel. I think that's her name. Anyway, the main thing is I like the young lady that voices the main character. I think she's a very funny comedian and performer. And I want to watch that show. It's on Netflix. All 10 episodes of the first season is on Netflix. And then I go to Paramount Plus and it's not there. And then I see that a lot of stuff's not there. Turns out Nickelodeon shows have basically been pulled without a moment's notice. And this happens across every streaming platform. Netflix, take that back. Max, Hulu, Paramount. Doug is gone. My Life as a Teenage Robot is gone. By the end of 2024, Kung Fu Panda and Madagascar shows will be gone from Paramount Plus. Now you can find a lot of these shows on other platforms. Like I think Doug is on Hulu, and you can also see that on Disney Plus if you have Disney Plus, or the family bundle, whatever the hell that's called. Let me type in Doug on Hulu. No, it's no longer on Hulu. Good Lord. I wonder when, I think this is, I know the problem is residuals and things like that, but I think every show and every video game and every movie should be available at all times. And every song should be available at all times. Good or bad, if they caused a problem or not. If they cause controversy or not. I think just for history's sake, we should be able to access things. And I'm not saying for free. I'm saying that if I want to watch Nickelodeon Doug and then watch Disney's Doug, I should be able to go to Paramount Plus and watch Nickelodeon's Doug or wherever the hell it lives, and then go to Disney Plus or wherever the hell it lives and watch Disney's Doug. This is why I buy movies. This is why I buy movies and TV shows. This is why I own Night Court. Yeah, it's on Apple TV. And I can only watch it on my iPad or this Mac or the TV, but I can't watch it on my phone. All right. And the last thing I want to talk about comes from Michael Schneider at Variety. Most watched television networks ranking 2024's winners and losers. This comes covering the year 2024 total viewers and adults 18 to 49. This is from broadcast, cable, and pay TV. Broadcast would be like CBS, NBC, Fox, CW. Am I forgetting it? NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, CW. Did I say NBC already? Cable, which would be like Disney, Cartoon Network, Comedy Central, pay TV, HBO, Stars, Cinemax. Hi, sweet baby. Nova's on the dining room table. Last week, in Late Night Lately, I talked about the unfortunate winner for the ratings this year when it came to late night shows, and it was Gutfeld. He was just way above everybody else, mostly because it's Fox News, and they just funnel people in to one area like cattle. Winners include CBS, NBC, and ABC. Thanks to shows like ABC's High Potential and CBS's Matlock, they've had a very good fall. And I got to tell you, I just named High Potential and Matlock. I started watching Matlock last week. It is so good. It is so good. And High Potential is quite possibly my favorite show on broadcasting this year. My favorite new show on broadcasting this year. My favorite show is Ghosts. I love Ghosts. A lot of people do not like the American Ghosts. I think it's so fun and so funny. And I saw it and I watched the British Ghosts. I had to watch it online on Daily Motion, but it's a fantastic show, and I think both are great. And also thanks to sports. That's why CBS, NBC, and ABC did really well. Telemundo had a great year. They jumped up 12%, tying CBS for the biggest jump in broadcast. And if you take out special events, Telemundo actually claims the primetime victory in primetime for the first time in history. Wow, good for them. Univision is still on top. Crime Nets did really well. A place I used to work, Court TV, things like that. That's a crime net. They did really well, basically because of the fast carriage and that you can get those Justice Central and American Crimes, which both jumped up respectively 508% and 460%. But you can get those over the air with your antenna in HD. And also thanks to Fast. Justice Central also has has reruns of Perry Mason and Matlock, the original Perry Mason, not the HBO one, and the original Matlock, not the Kathy Bates one, which is the one I love. They also have for American Crimes, that also has old episodes of Dateline and Lockup. People love this crime stuff. And if they have an easy way of getting these shows, they're going to go ahead and watch them. I'm not going to talk about these other. Oh, Charge is a Diginet that did really well, and it has old episodes of CBS Miami. Cool. Anyway, most news networks had a big spike. CNN rose about 20%. Fox was the leader. NBC rose about 4%. MSNBC, rose about 4%. Big Ten, the Big Ten network, I think that's a college football network, rose a big amount, even though networks like the NFL Network and NBA TV both saw declines. I think the NFL Network saw declines because they canceled a lot of shows and fired a lot of people. Good Morning Football wasn't on for so long, and they moved production over to Los Angeles. I mean, that's why you saw a decline. They air, if you watch Good Morning Football, they air that show. It's a 2-hour show. It starts at 7 a.m., I think, or 8 a.m. now. It starts at 8 a.m. and it goes until 10 a.m. Eastern. They air that show comfortably from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Then they rerun that new that episode from 10 a.m. to 12, 12 to 2, 2 to 4. They run it all day long until it gets to a new episode of whatever primetime show they have. It's ridiculous. NFL Network. Air episodes of 30 for 30. But air football episodes of 30 for 30. You have NFL films. Just air things. Documentaries. Air things. Spinoff channels, as I hinted at earlier, did really poorly. FXX saw a decline of 29%. Nat Geo Wild is down 29%. I've actually started leaving Nat Geo Wild on so that Nova and Maverick have something to look at. But I don't think they watch it. Cooking Channel's down 31%. MTV2 is down 31%. Wow. VH1 is down 38%. Even though it was, I would say, probably one of the most popular spinoff channels in television history. Before streaming. Kids and teen networks have just not seen any type of rise at all. In fact, they were just plummeting. If you have YouTube TV or Hulu Live TV or some type of streaming television provider, you'll notice that Cartoon Network airs. I mean, they've started doing old episodes of Scooby-Doo on Sunday mornings, which is very cool. They did, even when I was there, they were doing a block. They started a block of nostalgia-based episodes of TV shows like Powerpuff Girls, the original, and Dexter's Lab and Courage the Cowardly Dog. They started airing that at like 5 p.m. And then they moved it up to 4 p.m. And now it was like 5 to 6. Excuse me. Yeah, 5 to 6 or 4 to 6, one of those. But now basically Adult Swim is being pushed up to like 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. because kids aren't watching. Nickelodeon, Nicktoons, they only air old episodes of SpongeBob, basically. And sometimes new episodes of their shows. It's Pony, I think, is a show. Rock, Paper, Scissors is a show. What else? Teen Nick, I don't know what they air. I skip over Teen Nick, but I keep it in my guide. Disney Junior airs Bluey sometimes because I watch Bluey. I love Bluey. Startups did not do well. Dr. Phil's Merit Street, Scripps News. Why were they even existing? We know that Scripps News, in fact, had to do some layoffs this past couple of months. Scripps News won its first news Emmy in September, then shut down 2 months later. The channel ceased Oh, they're done. The channel is done. Scripps News is finished. They ceased operation November 16th. The most watched networks of 2024 by total viewers are CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox, Fox News, ESPN, MSNBC, Univision, Telemundo, ION. Oh my gosh. And some of these networks are at minus, percentages when it comes to the change. Like CBS is at plus 12%, but Fox Broadcasting is down 15%. Wow. TNT is at 11, HGTV is at 13, TBS is at 14. And TBS, I think about this all the time. I'm concerned about American Dad. American Dad was rescued from Fox by TBS. It has lasted, I think it's in season 20 or something like that, but it has done full 18, 20, 22 episode seasons on TBS. I'm concerned that this might be the last year of American Dad. CNN is at plus 20 at 15. And if American Dad does continue to exist, like on Adult Swim, it'll get like 10 episodes, and it's a great show. I don't want it to end, but I'm always thinking about that. The Simpsons and Family Guy had Christmas specials in quotes on Disney Plus that are exclusive to Disney Plus. So I mean, do whatever it takes to survive, but please don't cancel these shows. Food Network 22, Grit. I used to work there. The CW, Grit and CW at 23 and 24. TV Land's at 28. Investigation Discoveries at 26. FX is at 31. Paramount Network's at 32. You didn't have Yellowstone. I was going to say Yokai. Yes, I'm thinking about Yokai. AMC is at 35. Wow. Newsmax is above ESPN2 at 38 and 40, respectively. Bounce TV, I used to work there, 44. Oh, and Adult Swim and Nick at Night are considered their own networks, even though they air, basically the prime time of, Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. Adult Swim's at 47 and Nick at Night's at 48. Again, this does not count for streaming. So if a show premiered on HBO, which is at 62, but did bonkers on HBO on Max, like Dune Prophecy or The Penguin, then this isn't taking anything into account. BBC America's at 68. I'm just scrolling. Pop TV still exists. It's at 84. Pop TV used to air One Day at a Time when it was canceled from Netflix, if I'm correct. What did Pop TV used to have? American Channel. I'm on. I will end this episode at some point. The original series it had was Nightcap. Let's Get Fit. Oh, Florida Girls. That's right. It did have One Day at a Time. I watched too much. And they had Scripps and Flack. Schitt's Creek and Flack. Wow. Oh, Flack was the Fox show, right? No, I'm incorrect. I never watched Flack. Well, Dabble is at 100, so if you know that network. Disney XD is at 142. The network that used to air new episodes of Pokemon and Yokai Watch. Wow. Okay, anyway, so that's how that works. I'm concerned about the future of television. We as a human race only spend time watching streaming platforms or TikTok now. And YouTube is the leader when it comes to streaming apps because it's free and people just put it on their television. And I'm concerned with the way that are watching movies and TV shows now. People are just waiting for movies to leave theaters and come to streaming, and that's not the right way to watch a movie. I was thinking about this last night. I was watching Spirited. I love Spirited. Spirited's so good. It's the only Ryan Reynolds movie where I think, hey, this guy is likable. Yes, I support Blake Lively. Woo. But I'm saying, otherwise they're both insufferable. But I like Spirited, and I thought, to myself, if this movie came to theaters, I would have enjoyed it. It would have been so fun to hear that song Ripple. Oh, it's a cut song. Watch the movie. It's a fantastic movie. It's so sad. It's so funny. It's a great musical. But I would have watched it in theaters. I love going to movies. I saw Sonic the Hedgehog 3. That's what I should have led with this week. I saw Sonic the Hedgehog 3 this week. Yes. It's a fantastic movie. Children talking during it. It's 9:15 in the morning, Christmas Eve. What are you talking for? Watch this movie. I'm trying to eat my breakfast. I had to rush from the gym. I'm at the gym. What are you doing? Do not eat that. Do not eat that, Nova. Hey, come here. I had to rush. She's hungry. It's time for them to eat. I had to rush. This is what happened. The Saturday before, last Saturday, I knew I was going to see Sonic the Hedgehog 3 on Christmas Eve. I said, I'm so excited. I bought my ticket on Sunday. There was nobody in the theater. I bought my ticket on my regular seat. I go to the gym. It's Christmas Eve. They open at 7 a.m. Fine. I'll do all of the cycling stuff before, and then I'll then I'll do the weight stuff after. I planned the longest weight session I've ever planned this year, but I got through it. There's a good mix of cleans and snatches and jerks and squatting and deadlifting variations. I'm doing lightweight, so that's why I was able to rush through it. But people who were still in town, I'm talking to them. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, Christmas is gonna be fun. Yeah, I'm seeing a sign. People are like hanging out with their family. Like, oh yeah, my family's in town. Oh, my wife's family's in town. We're gonna go see, my husband's family. I'm like, I'm gonna go see Sonic the Hedgehog 3 at 9 a.m. Don't put your head down there, my man. No, I'm so mad at you. I end up leaving the gym 8:30. It's 8:45 because I note that I have 30 minutes. It's 8:45 and I was there at like 7. I was there at 7 when they opened. Did my warm up and everything. So I leave there at 8:45. I get home. I take Maverick out. I feed them. I hop in the shower. I cook my breakfast, and I know I'm going to take it with me. And by the time I figure, I go, it's 9:15. I have 20 minutes. The movie starts at 9:15. I have 20 minutes because of the trailers. I get there. I don't know what happened, but I walk in at, let's say, like 9:40. Oh, because I bought snacks. That's right. I bought popcorn, and I had to get I had a free AMC treat of the donut holes, which were fine, but they had to cook. They had to air fry them, and that took like 5 minutes. I'm sitting there with my popcorn waiting. I didn't bike. I drove my car. So I have my backpack with me. So the jacket I'm wearing is just busting with like my breakfast. I had a protein shake and a bagel with some peanut butter and honey and just like a couple of bars. And just like my jacket's like busting. And I'm just like trying not to move. And they're like, "What are you waiting on?" I go, "I'm just waiting for those donut holes." And thankfully, this nice young lady finally cooks them and puts in the donut holes and gives them to me. I put the butter on the popcorn, and I walk in, and the movie has already started. This is a very true thing. I have seen every Sonic the Hedgehog movie in theaters. I've never seen the first few minutes. I've never seen the first few minutes of any Sonic the Hedgehog movie in theaters. In fact, it wasn't until when I bought Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 on digital about 2 years ago on Vudu that I saw the first few minutes of both of those movies. That's not an over-exaggeration. The first one, I missed the entire section with him losing Longclaw, which is a character in Sonic the Hedgehog, with him losing his parent. I missed that entire section. I walked into the movie theater and he was already a teenager. Side note, if you like Sonic the Hedgehog, and you should love that series. You should love the games. You should love the TV shows. You should love, including this latest Netflix TV show, and you should love the movies because they're great. Ben Schwartz, the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog, was on Nicole Byer's podcast, Why Won't You Date Me? She's the big Sonic fan. She was dressed in Sonic the Hedgehog garb, and they talked about Sonic the Hedgehog, and she cried so many times. And I loved it. It was such a good episode of the podcast. So check it out. Anyway, I saw Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It's fantastic. It was better than the first two. The first two are great. Although everybody has expressed interest that makes Sonic the Hedgehog, that they want to keep making them for a long time. And as such, they keep doling out Sonic characters slowly one by one. And just like in Sonic 1 at the end credits, and just like in Sonic 2 at the end credits, they introduce one more character, and it is very frustrating. Very frustrating because they introduce, you're like, I want to see this character on the big screen. I have to wait till the next movie, and then just do more characters. In the last movie, we got Tails and Knuckles. In this movie, And that's not a spoiler. In Sonic the Hedgehog 2, it was about Knuckles being brought to Earth because Robotnik was tricking him. And also the Knuckles TV show is fantastic. I really like it a lot. It's very funny. But in the last movie, we had Tails and Knuckles. In this movie, we have Shadow, and I'm not going to talk about the character in the end credits, but again, character. But in this movie, we had Chow, which were, the way they did it is fine. We had Chow, we had Maria Robotnik, we had Gerald Robotnik, and Shadow. The next movie is going to be the character they did, who's a female, and she's pink. I'll just say that much. Last name is Rose. First name Amy. Nova just popped up. She's like, come on, man, I'm hungry. All right. Listen, if you like what you heard here, I don't know why you wouldn't. Head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to your favorite famous people. I just spoke to Rose Matafeo. She's my last interview for the year. Check that out. You can watch a video version of that interview, as well as video versions of this show and the other podcasts, Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, and LinkedIn Logs over there on youtube.com/C+comedy. I just put every episode's up there now. You can follow us on TikTok, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Facebook at C+ Comedy. Follow me on those platforms at Chad Black White. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you all. I'll see you next year. I might not do an episode next week. We'll see. Depends on how I feel and depends on if there's news. Okay. Whatever. Bye.